Hey guys, so I wanted to talk to you guys today about um, how we are gendered in society. Um, so I actually just came back, literally 2 minutes ago, just came back from playing pool at my school's student union, and that's always been such a weird thing for me to go out there and hang out there like I belong there because I do. I mean, I have a right to be there, and I have a right to take up that space. But as a female, we're conditioned to think that we don't have a right to take up spaces like that. It's always been a really weird testing ground for me to kind of figure out how to own the space that I'm in and to be okay with the space that I'm in and not feel, even though sometimes I do feel threatened, people look at me, people stare at me. I'm still perceived as female, which is a huge bummer for me. But that kind of gets into this whole notion of passing. I've struggled with the idea of passing. Um, as many trans men have struggled with it, kind of navigating what it actually means to pass and how you feel about passing. And there are a lot of legitimate reasons to want to pass. Feeling comfortable, feeling like your gender is recognized, etc., etc. And Reese actually made a really great video about this. Reese Kelly. I think I'm subscribed to him, so if you find him in my subscriptions, check him out. He makes really great videos. Um, but this whole notion of passing and what that means, and I guess before you transition, passing is a lot more important because you have not undergone the physical transformation that people can readily see and readily take you as, even though sometimes that is not necessarily what you might want. But you've not undergone that physical transition where people look at you and say, okay, you're a male, or okay, you're a female. Um, so it doesn't click in a lot of people's heads. And so passing has always been this sort of, battleground for me. And before I was kind of really caught up in this idea of proving myself, proving my masculinity, proving the fact that I am trans and all this sort of stuff. And after a while, it got very tiring and it got very, it made me really step outside and say, wow, that is not me. And kind of, I lost myself a little bit. And I think it's really important to really recognize the fact that some of us do lose ourselves during this process, and hopefully we'll eventually find ourselves again, because we are so caught up in this idea of passing. But as it relates today to my story about playing pool, I usually just go down there, and I've been doing this for the past week and a half or so, and usually just go down there and start asking people, hey, is it cool if I join this table, whatever. Usually it is males. They're males who are playing. I rarely ever see females. And when I do, they're being taught how to play pool, and it's kind of, it's a male dominated space, basically. And so going into that space, I'm always a little weary about how I'm going to be received, how people are going to treat me, etc. I've been, I've been patronized, I've been chastised, people have said things to me, people have stared at me like I don't belong there. So very used to that sort of stuff. But today was a little different. I went in there, and as usual, I asked somebody if I could play, and they're usually pretty okay with people playing with them. And so I played, and I was playing with this guy, and he asked me. We were gonna break the rack. We're gonna break those balls. Excuse the innuendo, but no pun intended, I promise. But we were gonna do that, and I said, hey, you can go first, and he said, ladies first. And I kind of just like looked at him, and I was like, because I'm so, in my mind, I know I'm male, and people outside do not know that I'm male. So, or do not assume that I'm male. They look at my face, they look at my physical features, and they assume I'm female. So I kind of just stood back, and I was like, And I didn't know exactly what to say, because in those situations when you're talking to strangers and you're kind of playing this friendly game of pool, and we're having a good time, you're talking, we're chatting about majors, we're talking about school, it kind of, you don't necessarily know what to say. So basically, I kind of just was taken aback, and I didn't say anything, and I do regret not saying anything. But it was really, in those situations, it's always a really context-based situation, and it was really awkward for me to say, hey, like, dude, I'm a guy, I don't even know you, but I'm like telling you this. And I mean, maybe that's some sort of fear that I have to get over for myself, but it is really hard. And to know that people are still going to assume that I'm female um, kind of gives that sort of a reality check in my mind that I still am seen as female. It doesn't stop me from operating as a male, or operating and thinking that I can be in those spaces and I'm allowed to be in those spaces. It doesn't stop me from thinking that, but it does make me realize that people do see me as female, and constantly I'm being seen as female because I do not quote unquote pass. Um, because I'm feminine, because I talk with my hands, because I, you know, talk with a nasally voice or whatever that means. So it's kind of just making me think about where those things intersect, where passing, the idea of passing intersects, and the fact that I really wanted people to see me as a male. I wanted to be recognized as male. And I'm not, and I'm not going to be until maybe my physical transformation. Even then, they will call me a sissy, a fag, whatever. I have no problem with that. But it does bring up a lot of the ideas of passing and what that means. So let me know what you think about passing, and I mean, I'm not endorsing passing, I'm not, condoning passing, I'm not saying don't pass, I'm just saying this is my experience with passing and with being always seen as female and never really being seen as male, and what that means to me. So feel free to drop me any comments or anything.